Hello there, good evening and welcome to the Diaspora Perspective show on Voice of the People Television. Join us for an exciting discussion live every Saturday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. as we bring you the latest news and insights from home and abroad. I am Chukwuma Okoro, and on the Diaspora Perspectives, we discuss different political, governance, economic and development issues in Nigeria, more like an exchange of ideas with Nigerians in the diaspora to see how we can learn from their experiences to build a better Nigeria. Well, we encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our page. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. We are also broadcasting live on Metro SL TV channel 264. Well, today we are looking at Soludo Abga endorsed Tinubu for 2027 as they ask Peter Obi to step aside, drop his ambition. When we move away from that, foreign headsmen are the ones killing Nigerians. Now, this is coming from Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. And in Anambra State, where the president visited on Thursday, he told Nigerians, we are battling down economic monsters that have held Nigerians hostage. Well, have patience and give us more time. Well, joining me to make sense of all these is the flagship. Flagship is a clinical research operations lead and business entrepreneur based in Atlanta, Georgia. Good evening, the flagship, and welcome to Diaspora Perspective.
Good evening, Mr. Okoro, and good evening to the viewers. How are you doing today?
Very well, sir. Very well. Good to have you. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Okay, now before we move into the main topics of the discussion, there are also other trending issues. And one of them is that the world is in a historic moment as Cardinal Robert Prevost becomes first US-born Pope. Well, Cardinal Robert Prevost from Chicago has been elected as the first US-born Pope, taking the name Pope Leo XVI. While the 69-year-old, known for his missionary work in South America and leadership roles in the Vatican, is expected to continue Pope Francis' reforms and focus on poverty and marginalized communities. World leaders, including United States President Donald Trump and former President Joe Biden, have congratulated Pope Leo XIV, expressing eagerness to work with him on global issues. Well, the new Pope's priorities are likely to include environmental preservation and service to the poor, and he is expected to build on Pope Francis' legacy. Now, the flagship, you live in the United States, but before the Pope was elected, Donald Trump put out a picture of himself wearing the pontiff's the pontiff's signal, you know, like the cap or so. I've forgotten what we call it as colleagues. And days after that, after the conclave, we saw an American-born become a pope of the Catholic Church. The first American-born, though of Italian descent, because his great-grandparents were immigrants from Italy and France. So, in terms of bloodline, he's still Italian, but he is the first pope to be born in the United States of America. Now, does it look like there was some kind of subterranean moves by the U.S. president? Was there infiltration within the conclave? Was there any kind of influence, you know, that led the cardinals to elect Cardinal Prevost as the new pontiff? Do you have an idea if there's anything of that sort that happened?
I do not have an idea of how that happened, but just as you saw it, that's how we saw it. On that AI-generated, allegedly AI-generated picture of Donald Trump. I don't think Trump has access to the Vatican where he can influence the votes of the people. But I want to say congratulations to the Catholic faithfuls, Catholic all around the world, on this quick election of a new Pope that took just about 2 days, I think, to get a new one, and the voting process within the conclave and how it went. And we now have Pope Leo XIV, not 16th. I know you mentioned 16th, but it's the 14th.
Okay, sorry about that. It's actually the 14th. No. XIV, 14, yes.
Right. But yeah, congratulations to them. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened with that, if Trump had an idea or if he influenced that decision. But I think that process is a very sacred process, and it dates back to time. So to say now that he may have had an influence in it, I don't think so. My two top picks actually were the Cardinals from Netherlands and the one from Italy, but it shocked the world all around, just as it shocked me to see that the one we got is a U.S.-born Pope with an Italian bloodline in him. So congrats to them, I say.
Okay, Flagship, I like the fact that you brought in this issue with an Italian bloodline. So, I mean, is there anything different? Has anything changed? Pope Francis, the one that we just buried, was born in Argentina, but of Italian bloodline too. So, has anything changed at all? Looks like the whole thing still goes back to Italy at any point in time.
I don't think it does, but you know that just like almost every system, organization, there's some sort of politics within here and there that takes place. So they may within themselves influence who becomes pope, regardless of where they come from. And again, don't forget, before you become a cardinal, you go through the school of bishops and the rest of them to get to that point. And I think there's a very, very intentional and very strict selections of those that they allow. Our African brothers or bishops, cardinals that are there, till date they've not been able to bring out one from Africa, although they are well qualified, more than qualified. In fact, I was hearing that the cardinal from Ghana is more qualified than Pope Leo XIV that's just elected, but how they missed that, we don't know. So, yeah, there's some politics involved in it, but the product is what we have. We celebrate with them.
Yes, we celebrate. Yes, exactly.
I hope that the Pope will, beyond humanitarian quest that he's gone for and push that he wants to make globally, he should also look into how he could use his office to ensure that there is peace in war-torn countries and areas where trouble is brewing all around the globe.
Okay, exactly the point. We expect him to come into office with a lot of expectations from people around the world, especially like you said in war-torn areas of the world. We also expecting to see his positions on abortion, whether he's pro-choice, whether he's pro-life, and his position on LGBTQ and all of that. So
that would be a tough call because he's a deep-rooted Republican from history and what we've known. So I'm sure that he's going to be very conservative in that regard. But we don't know.
We don't know. Exactly the point.
So let's see how it plays out. Yeah.
All right. Now let's come back to Nigeria, where the Labour Party crisis is taking a different turn. A turn for the worse, if you don't mind, as Otti calls for Abure's arrest over impersonation. Now, Abure State Governor Alex Otti has called on Inspector General of Police to arrest Julius Abure, the suspended national chairman of the Labour Party, for impersonation after Abure announced Otti's suspension from the party. Now, Otti's special advisor of media and publicity, Ferdinand Ekoma, stated that the Supreme Court had ruled that Abure is no longer the national chairman of the Labour Party, and the party's caretaker committee had stripped him of his authority. Well, Otti urged Nigerians to disregard the suspension notice, describing it as a joke taken too far and an affront to democracy. Well, within the week, Flagship, Julius Abure, with his national executive, announced the suspension of Dr. Alex Otti, the governor of Abia State. I mean, the only Labour Party governor. Abure announced his suspension with 5 others, including a 7th senator, Ireti Kingibe, a former senator, Darlington Mokocha, who represented Abia Central before his mandate was taken away by Austin Akobondo of the PDP, including Amobi Oga, who represents Isuku Atomuno to federal constituency, Afamo Ogene, another member of the House of Representatives, and one Showumi, who is also a national legislator. And Abure suspended them 5 high-level members of the LP. And in turn, Otti said, look, Otti and the Nenadi Usman-led committee said, look, in fact, we are going to investigate your tenure as national chairman. You don't even have the authority to speak now because the court has removed you. And in all of this, Otti said, well, I call on the Inspector General of Police to arrest Abure for impersonation. There are so many talking points regarding what is going on in the Labour Party. Let's start from the arrest. Do you think that the IGP is likely to arrest Julius Abure for impersonation? Is there a possibility it could happen?
Ability. I mean, let's sit back for a minute, try to pull ourselves out of the inside of what's going on within the Labour Party. The one question you want to ask is, what is the intention of Julius Abure? What is he going for? The Labour Party taking out these 5 key members that he's suspending is as good as dead politically, and in any bid to vie for office at any level within Nigeria. So it's just a very calculative, intentional, internal sabotage of Peter Obi's bid or ambition of wanting to run for 2027. That's what's going on. I see Abure as a stooge at this point. He's there just to disorganize and just throw things out of place, cause confusion and chaos, and ensure that the base, the house, is not settled and in peace for them to calculatively plan and figure a way out to get things in line and in place for 2027. So with the IG, I don't think he's going to arrest Abure based on the call from Governor Otti. It's just going to play on, and that's what APC wants. You see, this uproar that's going on within the Labour Party is part of the game plan. What they would really like to see, keep it as it is, let them keep fighting amongst themselves. Obi will not find peace within the Labour Party, and maybe his next bid is to go to SDP. El Rufai is there, who, if Obi finally decides to settle with the SDP party, we'll begin to see things start to brew up there as well. So this is a game plan that is on. I don't think Abure will be arrested. They're just going to continue with this back and forth. Remember, 2023, it was, what was the gentleman's name from the West that came in also, and the saga was between Abure and himself. Now, this time it's between Abure and his party members. It serves nothing but to say that his intention is just to sabotage. And just like every Nigerian's speculation at this point, it seems like Abure is working for the APC.
Okay. It's quite interesting to see how you've been able to connect all these dots, to weave it around the conspiracy theory that, look, it's like certain individuals at the top are the ones behind the crisis in the Labour Party. Now, I like the angle that you brought in as it affects Peter Obi. Now, in all of this, do you think that Peter Obi is likely to remain there? And if he's to jump, like the Obedience have already given him the approval that anywhere he goes to, that they are going to join him. Do you think that between the SDP and the PDP, where do you think Obi is likely to pitch his tent? If you consider everything.
So here's what I think. You can't put an old wine a new wine into an old wine scheme. PDP's history for Peter Obi, in my opinion, Labour Party has this internal problem going on. So going there or remaining there will not do him any good. His base, the Obedient, they have already given him the indication that, look, pick a place to go. If you ask me, I know 2027 is just right around the corner. I do not, and I'm not going to speak in detail about it because I don't have concrete information on the process for how to get a party started. Obi's best bet is to find a neutral or new party started and go there. And it will not only be the Obedience that will move with him, but other well-meaning Nigerians that are neutral, standing in between the line, not knowing what party or what side to belong, that like Peter Obi's ideology, they will also join him in that party. So I don't want Obi to miss the opportunity, just like he did in 2023, when he and the Obedience movement had the chance to challenge the results that were announced. And we saw it that based on the response, every member of the now present administration looked for a place to go hide when the Supreme Court was going to give out their verdict. Even the Supreme Court judges did not do it in person in court. They had to do it virtually because they were concerned on what would happen from the Obedience or Nigerians, the kind of reaction they would get. So Obi has an opportunity now. If it is not too late, I think his best option is to start a new party, and everybody will move with him.
All right. Now, Flagship, before we move on to the next trending topic, let's finish this Obi thing. Do you think that with the level of the stranglehold that the ruling party APC has on Nigerian politics now, a lot of people, the conspiracy theorists say that, look, the APC is responsible for what is going on in the Labour Party, responsible for what is happening in the PDP, responsible for what has started happening, even in the new SDP, where El-Rufai is in now, and there's commotion there in the SDP. Do you think that they will allow Peter Obi either to form a new political party or go to any of these political parties in peace? Any new one apart from the SDP, PDP, and Labour? Do you think that if the ruling party is behind it, do you think that they'll give him a breathing space, either in a new party or in any other party, whether AAC, AAA, or APP, and all of those things? And can you, with a crystal ball, do you think that the Obi that we had in 2023 is able to repeat that momentum again in 2027, given the clampdown from all quarters, in Nigeria?
It's unfortunate that it's happening this way. I personally think he can, if he makes the move. Okay. He can pull that stunt. And there are people, he has a huge base that's willing and already ready to follow him. So the fact that the APC has clamped down on, and we know the play pattern that the APC is using now. They've got the big backbones behind them, judiciary, the military, the legislature, and the rest of them. And what the rest of it is just put stooges around in these other opposing parties to just destabilize it and see how they can cause commotion here and there and scatter the base. But if Obi forms a new party and moves there, and you begin to see these old eggs or heads move and try to come there, then we know for sure that, yes, this is a plot to try to get Obi not to take office or run and get in the position as president. But they can't stop him. As long as the law allows that Obi can form a new party, if all the criteria is met, I don't see how the APC can intentionally do that. Okay. If they do that, then it's a clear indication that, yes, their game plan, like we are all speculating, is to turn Nigeria into a one-party state. And at this point, they are worse than what the military regimes may have done in the past.
Okay, exactly. The 2027, as far as we are concerned, is developing story and will continue to develop up until the elections come and go. And the other side of the story is that the people we say that are holding Nigerians down, do they really care? That is the big question. Now let's move on. As Akpabio and Natasha versus Natasha, the Senate president dragged Senator Natasha to court over mock apology. Looks like the story is not going to die down very soon, as Senate President Godswill Akpabio has sued Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan over a satirical apology video she posted online, alleging it breaches a court order. Now Akpabio seeks to compel her to delete the post, publish a written apology in national newspapers, and file an affidavit confirming compliance. Well, the dispute stems from an altercation in the Senate chamber and accusations of sexual harassment. Flagship, we are very familiar with the Akpabio-Natasha gate story and all of that. Now, you also are aware of the apology, satirical, like a mockery that Natasha made to Akpabio. And Akpabio is not taking it lightly. He said, look, no, you can't do this to me. You cannot do this to me. There's a court order restricting both of us from making comments on public, on newspapers, on the media concerning the allegation and all of that, as the case is in court, probably saying that what Natasha did is sub judice. And when he went to court, what's your broad reaction to, shouldn't Akpabio have just quietened that and allowed that phase to pass instead of having to resurrect it again? What's your thinking? What do you think?
It's surprising to me to see that the satirical apology that Senator Uduaghan issued did put a big punch and hole on Senator Akpabio more than the allegation that she raised. That one to me is very surprising. He was quiet, defiant, unperturbed, never worried or bothered about what that allegation, sexual allegation, allegedly said, as reported by Senator Uduaghan. But that he's responding this hard to a satirical apology, to me, shows that the nerve that Senator Uduaghan had struck is really close to Senator Akpabio, and there's something there that needs to be looked into critically, because I do not see why this. I laughed at the letter when I saw it, and I thought this shouldn't bother him for one bit. So why is he concerned about it? Why is he asking for a retraction and an informal apology with reference to that letter? So I think, to me, it's opening a side of the story that we may not have heard about, and I think we need to look into, and perhaps may get some glimmer of insight into what is really going on. Yeah, I didn't think that this should bother Senator Akpabio at all.
Okay. Unfortunately, yes, unfortunately, he's bothered. That's what it looks like. He's bothered, and Nigerians are asking, I mean, why bother so much? If you think that you are clean, why are you asking her to delete it and retract and send an apology to you? Anyway, that's how far we can go on trading stories. Now, let's get into the major topic of discussion. 2027 presidency. All Progressive Grand Alliance Soludo throws weight behind Tinubu, ignores Obi. Now, Governor Charles Soludo of Chukwumas, Charles Soludo of Anambra State, and the All Progressive Grand Alliance, Abure, have endorsed President Bola Tinubu for re-election in 2027, citing ideological alignment with the federal government, while Soludo stated that Abure has maintained a policy of supporting the central government since 2011, solidifying their support for Tinubu. The endorsement has sparked controversy, with some supporters of former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, criticizing Soludo's move, citing his past disagreements with Obi, who is also vying for the 2027 presidency. The endorsement may impact Nigeria's political landscape, boosting Tinubu's re-election bid. Now, flagship, there are so many talking points about this. The president was in Anambra on Thursday to commission some projects, and in the process, Chukwuma Soludo said, Mr. President, look, myself, Abure, we endorse you for 2027. So the basic question will be, as a political party, by the way, he's the national leader of the party, being the only governor on the platform of that party, and he operates, I think, at the same level with the national chairman. So, and he now came out to say, look, Mr. President, Abure endorses you for 2027. And people are asking. Meanwhile, today, Chekwa Sokorie, one of the founding members of Abure, has said, no, Chukwuma Soludo, you don't have the powers to endorse the president for re-election without having to go through the normal process. And in all of this, do you think that as a national leader of the party, that he has the powers? And how would that impact? What it technically means is that, look, Abure is not going to produce a presidential candidate in 2027. So is he trying to sing the nungdamitis of like the death of Abure after 2027? What do you think, sir?
So Delta State is a prime example. Remember, the governor jumped ship before he informed or talked to his people. And here you have Soludo, the national, at his level, making this decision and throwing his weight behind the president without first talking to his base. And you and I can only assume the rest. There's going to be the back and forth between himself and the rest of the party with reference to this decision that he's made. The same thing with the governor of Akwa Ibom, who also threw his weight behind the president. And of course, the members of the party came up to say, no, you cannot do that without first consulting with us and ensuring that we're all on the same page before you make this big statement. The quest for this one-party system is daily becoming almost a reality in Nigeria, where we are seeing that those that are the head of these parties at whatever level they stand, be it governors, senators, House of Rep, and the rest of them, they are just willingly, without even thinking twice, approving the president, the current president, Tinubu, for 2027 without first looking back to say, how does this benefit us? Why can't we bring a candidate from our own party ourselves to at least vie for this position? To me, it says that something has exchanged hands somewhere, you know, and it's strange to see that all these big wigs in the different parties, opposing parties, are just throwing their weight behind the current president when they see where the nation is, where the people are, the economic situation, the standard of living, and so on, that they think that we need another 4 years of what we've experienced within this last 2 years come May 29. And it's just a clear indication that we are not going to see anything democratic come 2027 in terms of the selection of the president with reference to voting. So we may as well say at this point that Tinubu already has the seat. All we need to do is have these governors and leaders of the party at their various capacities high up there in the various states in the South. Remember, just Robert, whatever comes out in 2027.
Okay. Now, a few minutes ago, we talked about the potential Obi has, to upset, to unseat the president. If you consider the way governors are trooping, like the national chairman of the party says, more governors are yet, to join us. They are going to join us ahead of 2027. I like the fact that you also cited Delta State, where the governor and the former running mates to the PDP presidential candidate talking about Ifeanyi Okowa said, look, we want to align with the center. Now, Anambra governor says, we want to align with the center. Meanwhile, these are parties that have been, in opposition for 8 years and more. So what is new in trying to align with the center? Is it speaking towards the one-party state that everybody is afraid is going to happen? And I spoke with you the other day. Was it you or another person? And the person was like, no, it can't happen. The president can get the southern states. But talking about the North, no, all the governors in the North cannot move to APC. The person was very emphatic. I can't remember on top of my head the person that said it. But in all that has happened now, why is everybody trying to align with the center? What is the color of the center? Is it about, trying to run into a shield? Or is it about trying to get protection? Or is it about trying to get re-election? Because all these people that are running to the center are first-term governors who are looking for re-election. Is there a nexus between that, or is it because of our ideological alignment, like Chukwu Masoludo said? Do we even have parties with different ideologies? He said that all of them are progressives. What kind of progressivism do we have in Nigeria? And what is the link between Abure progressivism and that of the and that of APC? Is there any? Are you able to see the colors of all these things that are happening? Maybe you can help us understand.
Senator or former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, made a statement which currently he's trying to defend fruitlessly. And he said that if you want your sins to be forgiven, join the APC and everything will be in the past. Every one of these first-term governors and past governors that are hopping to the APC, if you look deeply into their past, you find out that there are one or two incriminating cases that is pending or lingering, waiting for them whenever they get out of that immunity that covers them, for the law to catch up with them. But if they jump ship and get to the APC, nobody seems to talk about everything that they alleged against them in the past. With reference to ideology, I do not see it, unfortunately, because when Soludo talks about progressive, that Abure and APC seem to have the same ideology in terms of progressiveness, I don't see it at all. And it disturbs me in politics when I see that we don't have a formidable opposition between parties. So in summary, it's just like the democratic system being practiced in Nigeria is far from what the original intention is, from where we borrowed it from, that we do not have opposition. Democracy stands to offer a platform where one party with a different ideology opposes the other, has a separate ideology, and whoever is able to convince the populace gets to vote and get into office. But as it seems now, it seems like they are just putting aside whatever it is that the ideology they thought about is, and just align with whomever is in position. Now, when I think about this, so when I think about politicians jumping ship, there are a few things that come to mind. Number one is, are they doing it because this is the party that's in power at this time? Are they doing it, number two, like you said, because they want covering or immunity, or are they doing it because of the belief in the ideological base that this is going to be beneficial to the people and the nation that is to rule. But when you listen to these politicians that we have and how they express whatever the ideological process they have or that they believe in is, it just doesn't make sense. There's no depth to it. They really cannot communicate it to say why they are doing what they're doing, why they believe what they believe, why they are in the party that they belong to, and how they hold strong the tenets of this party that they belong to. So I don't think I see the colors. They are just hopping because they think that this is where we can get protection. It's not about the people. It's about themselves.
Okay.
Just like we see them demonstrate today.
All right, then. Thanks very much, Flagship. Now, let's talk about this endorsement, what it portends for APGA and the legacy of Ojukwu with APGA. You recall that Ojukwu was the founding father of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, and a lot of people believe that, look, this party is supposed to be a party of the Southeast. Some have also said, like, look, Southeasterners, if you are interested in producing a president, why don't you form a political party that is very solid with the 5 states of the Southeast producing, throwing their weight behind APGA. Now, this hasn't happened. The only time we saw it happen was when I think one person became a governor and later left. We also saw P2B that served as governor of APGA for 8 years and said he wasn't going to leave the Labour Party, that that he wasn't going to leave APGA, that it was over his dead body that he will leave APGA. It's there, his internet doesn't lie. Eventually he left. He went to PDP. Now we also see Chukwu Masoludo trying to, more like what he's trying to do, is he trying to kill APGA? So people are asking, is it going to be the last of APGA? And what legacy will they leave for Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu? The man that, that represents more like an icon of the Igbo nation. Is it a good thing that people are breaking away, from his legacy? More like trying to rubbish it, he just died some years ago. And the only legacy he left for the Igbo people in terms of political movement, some people are trying to destroy it. What's your reaction to that? Is it a good thing?
Good thing in any way. The first thing that I thought about when I saw this happen, and I go back to Mrs. Ojukwu when she was appointed by the East Present administration to take the office as minister that she is occupying now. I was really confident that she was going to decline it and not accept it because of her husband, number one. And then number two, because of the plight and the push for the Southeast to produce a stronger force politically in Nigeria so they can at least stand to either maintain or advance the ideology of Ojukwu, as it were. But when she accepted it, I was disappointed, to say the least. And then number two, when Peter Obi left APGA, yes, he did make that promise that over his dead body he was not going to leave. But when he left, Soludo, the current governor of Anambra State, I remember he made some comments back then, and he told Peter Obi that you are going to come back to APGA. There is no way you will become president of this nation without coming to APGA. And I think he put a bet on it. So I'm wondering now why he's willing to take back his words to Peter Obi at the time, seeing that he now, although has not indicated that he's going to the APC, but has already thrown his support for a presidential candidate behind the APC as it is. So it's unfortunate that the Southeasterners are not united in this front. And it's one question that I always ask, and I ask my Southern friends, that do you guys really sit down to look into those that as leaders that govern you, that are senators and rep members? Are they Southeasterners? Are they from there? Behind the governor of Imo State was a question when we're trying to judge Trump, and those that is from the northern faction is just coming to the south and pretending to be from the southeast. So it's the lack of unity between the Southeasterners that they see that they cannot contend with, fight, or oppose, and if they choose to align with it, it's going to compromise what they stand for. And I think that's where Peter Obi came out from. That's the reason why he came out of Abure and went to PDP. But if the Southeasterners will unite, believe in the ideology that Ojukwu had, who has fought for independence for the Southeasterners, or at least recognition and acceptance of the Southeasterners in the affairs of Nigeria, I thought that they would come together, unite, hold that ideology together, build on it, expand it, and maybe one day be able to present a candidate that is strong enough to run for presidency. But as it is now, it's not a good thing. It just sets the Southeast way back in their bid of wanting to try to be recognized or be accepted within the politics of Nigeria. And believe it or not, it also stands to compromise their ability for isolation or wanting to have their own state as it is, because the disunity amongst them faults their bid for that separation that they're looking for.
All right, thank you very much, the flagship, for this wonderful insight and the legacy that Abure has for the Igbo people. Now, let's move on and talk about insecurity. As the Defense Headquarters blames foreigners for recent violent attacks in Nigeria. Now, the Defense Headquarters has attributed recent violent attacks in Benue and Plateau states to foreign headers who infiltrated Nigeria through porous borders. According to the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kangie, linguistic and physical evidence suggests that many of the attackers are not Nigerian nationals, where the Defense Headquarters has called for stronger collaboration between security and border agencies to monitor and manage Nigeria's extensive frontiers effectively. Well, this comes amid growing outrage over incessant header-farmer clashes that have left hundreds dead and thousands displaced. The flagship, last week, the Defense Headquarters told us that, look, the people that are killing Nigerians are not even Nigerians, they are foreigners. This is coming from the military authorities, Defense Headquarters, under the office of the Chief of Defense Staff, boldly telling Nigerians that, look, the people that are killing fellow Nigerians are foreigners. And in all of this, we have a chief of defense. Okay, we'll go for a short break, and when we return, we'll continue with the discussion. Join us again.
Extraordinary. Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV. Channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. Ready for the extraordinary. Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Saturday, 2 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, then welcome back and thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is the Diaspora Perspective Show. Now, back to you, the flagship. We talked about the Chief of Defense Staff, Defense Headquarters, telling us that the people that are killing Nigerians in Benue Plateau are foreigners, talking about porous borders and all of that. And the question is, why would the Defense Headquarters openly tell Nigerians this? Should that be our business? And in all of this, we have a Chief of Defense Staff who keeps sitting in his position. We have a Minister of Defense, we have a Minister of State for Defense, we have a National Security Advisor, we have the Controller General of Immigration, we have the Controller General of Customs. And in all of this, these people are telling us, someone is telling Nigerians, the people that are killing you are not Nigerians. If we have reached this level, do you think that any Nigerian is safe? Mind you, Benue Plateau sits at the center of the country geographically. So if we have porous borders in Sokoto, in Borno, in Yobe, in Adamawa, and they move all the way through like 6-7 states, come to Benue and Plateau that sits at the center of the country and kill people, chase them away from their ancestral homelands, rename those communities and take over and nothing happens. Do you think that anybody in Nigeria is safe at this moment?
The very short and simple answer to that is no. Nobody is safe in Nigeria as it is. The best answer that the Chief of Defense has come to give to us is that they now know who these people are and where they are coming from. Okay, good. Let me give them their flowers for at least for what all these years they've been able to tell us exactly who they are, where they are coming from. My question to them is, so what are you going to do about it? Now that you know, are you just finding out now that these are the people that are coming to cause this mayhem in Nigeria and they are free to move around in Nigeria? You protect them more than you protect the Nigerian citizens. The Nigerian defense they sent an open letter to these guys, an invitation to come. Open invitation letter to come and continue to do what they are doing. Because when you see that they get a hold of these guys, they take them in and they rehabilitate them and then reintegrate them to the society again, is just a clear invitation to the rest of them out there to say, come on, there is place for you here. And whatever you do, there will be no consequences. Mr. Okoro, yesterday, I ran into a video. I'm not sure if you have seen it. But if not, I will send it to you maybe after the show.
Okay.
Of the Ghanaian police service, I guess that's what they call themselves, the version of Nigeria Police Force. Who from Ghana? Mr. Okoro, I thought I was listening to the United States FBI director or the chief of police in my county or my state giving an update on the situation of killing, kidnapping, abduction, and all of that happened, and how they went about it and nabbed these 8 guys, of which 5 of them or thereabout are Nigerians. From Ghana, they were able to track them to Nigeria. They were able to apprehend them in Port Harcourt and Onitsha, and the 2 ladies that were kidnapped and held against their will were gotten, taken away from their hands alive, and they have rehabilitated them, giving them all the medical attention they need in Nigeria, and they are in the process of taking them back to Ghana. And according to Ghana Chief Superintendent of Police, which is a lady, said that the Nigerians, the 2 of them, perpetrators who are in Nigeria as we speak, they are going to be extradited to Ghana to face the law. And the Nigerian police force / Nigerian government is working with them to bring these guys in. That's just a summary of what happened. You needed to hear this lady give an elaborate press briefing on how they went about finding people, tracking them with their phone numbers as far as to their bank accounts and where they are hiding, that they were able to find these 2 Ghanaian ladies that were abducted in Nigeria. So if Nigerian police or Nigerian security agency can tactfully work with the tactful Ghanaian counterpart, how come they are not able to do the same for us who are Nigerians in Nigeria? So you know who these people are. Your borders are porous. They are, and I heard the chief of defense, I believe, last week make a comment saying that, oh, well, West Africa has some sort of treaty that allows cattle rearers to move about wherever they want in West Africa from country to country to graze their cows. I'm not seeing it in Ghana. I've not heard about their mayhem in Togo, Benin Republic, the Gambia, Senegal, and the rest of them. Why is it only in Nigeria? And that we don't have any strong response to put a stop to this. If these are things that are causing mayhem to us, what should Nigeria be doing at this point? Not long ago, Trump assumed office here. And prior to that, you and I hear in the news of how migrants are taking advantage of the southern border and coming into the US in droves, unrestricted, and in most cases aided by the government. When Trump got into office, what did he do? He shut it down. The border is porous. He closed it. He sent military forces, stationed them at the border. Today, we don't hear about migrants. Today, we don't hear about drugs coming into the US as they used to flow within the last few years. So what is the Nigerian government doing? What actions have they taken? Is it not incompetence that the defense chief is coming to tell us that, oh, we know who they are? We don't want to hear who they are. We want to know what you are doing. What steps have you taken? How are you going to seal that border up? How is Customs and Immigration going to manage this situation? How do you give access to foreigners who are coming into our country through our borders? I understand Nigeria has many countries surrounding their borders from the north to the west and the east. But shouldn't these areas be areas of priority that you will send the maximum amount of force in terms of custom agencies, immigration officers, and the army, perhaps the police, to seal out every aspect of our borders that are open in the north, the east, and the west, so we can push back on these people? If Nigeria signed this treaty with the ECOWAS nation to allow cattle rearers to come into their country or wherever they go, and you see that this is causing problems for your citizens, how about pulling out of that treaty if they don't want to amend it to stop this menace that's going on? And how is it that these guys are coming in with these weapons unrestricted, and you don't know who is giving it to them, where they are getting it from? But all you have offered us as Nigerians is to say, oh, we know these people.
Okay.
They are not Nigerians.
Okay.
Something has to be done.
Yes, so something has to be done. Something has to be done, exactly. And I like the direction that you traveled. And talking about now flagship. Let me ask you. Let's assume that you are faced with this kind of situation in the United States of America, that so a certain number of people are killed. The person that is in charge, what will be the person's first reaction? Assuming the person admits that, look, this thing has happened under my purview. I ask this question in light of the fact that you recall in 1993 when Bill Clinton, took American Marines, to go and quell a crisis in Somalia, and under the watch of General Garrison, 17 Americans, were killed in that exercise. The moment he came back after this man, after Mohammed Farah Aidid was killed, the next thing that General Garrison did was to resign. If this kind of thing happened lately in Atlanta, in the United States, what would be if the FBI director admits that, look, people that killed Americans are foreigners, does he stay put in that position, or what will be his next line of action?
I don't think he will feel safe himself to even walk around on the streets or drive around. I don't think he would be safe to walk freely within the people, knowing that he knows what is done, and it is his job and responsibility to defend the people. And he has this wealth of information and is just walking around. No, it's not going to happen. Let's not even think too far to 1993 with the case of Bill Clinton in Somalia. Just recently, Trump was in a campaign ground in Pennsylvania, and a bullet grazed his ears. The person responsible for the State Security Service here in the US found out that she failed in providing security to the then presidential candidate who was on a campaign ground campaigning for election. And the right amount of security coverage and protection that he as a candidate then was supposed to get was not given to him by the State Security Service. She resigned. You don't need to be told. Nobody really want to hear your side of the story. The honorable thing to do is, you failed in the deliverance of your duties and responsibilities, your job responsibilities. You just take the exit. And it's not just taking the exit and walking around. You still have to be investigated. And if you're found guilty or culpable or incompetent, you might face whatever the law says it should be given to you based on your incompetence and failure that has resulted in the deaths of the lives of Americans. Listen, America does not joke with the lives of its citizens in the homeland, not to talk about abroad. 13 great Marines and soldiers were killed in Afghanistan when Joe Biden was pulling out. Joe Biden knew what he went through in trying to answer to why and how that happened. That 13 of America's finest lost their lives. Well, in addition to the many others that got wounded. It's not just enough. It cannot, never, ever happen in this country that the same thing that is going on in Nigeria is going on here. And the person responsible for handling that office is still sitting in that office with no consequences. No, I don't think they cannot even come out of their doors. In fact, the citizens will go to their home to pull them out if the right government agency doesn't take them into a custody or protection. That is something that is not seen here. So that our defense chiefs are still in office, and that the Senate, the House of Rep, they have not set up a committee to probe these guys and ask them why these failures is still something that beats my imagination. When things of this nature happen here in America, the chief of defense, whoever he is or she is, will be summoned to appear before the Senate to give a reason as to why these things are happening. Americans are dying, and we don't know what is happening and how they are going about it. It cannot happen over here in the West. And I think that's a leaf that the Nigerian defense team need to borrow if they really care about the people of Nigeria. And lastly, I'll say this, Mr. Okoro. If it turns out that Americans are exposed to this kind of situation and the government is not doing anything about it, the people will come together and defend themselves and their borders, their towns, to ensure that they curb this menace to its barest minimum level, if not eradicate it completely.
No, that's quite sad because a lot of Nigerians are also asking, what is the value of human life in Nigeria? The people in leadership, do they care enough to protect the average Nigerian? Well, so many questions without answers. Now, as we coast home, let us get into the third topic of discussion. As Tinubu said that he's battling economic monsters and asks Nigerians to be patient. Well, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu visited Anambra State within the week, that was on Thursday, highlighting his administration's economic reforms and progress. He inaugurated several projects, including the Emeka Anyoko Institute for International Studies and Diplomacy at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, where Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo endorsed Tinubu for a second term, citing shared progressive ideologies between APGA and APC. During the visit, Soludo requested support for Anambra's development, including road rehabilitation and extension of gas and rail plants. Tinubu promised to look into this request and partner on security and ecological funds. The president received the traditional title of DK Simba Anambra, and was commended by Ohaneze Ndigbo for efforts in the southeast, though they requested for more federal presence. Now, the president also, during that visit, said that, look, that he's battling down economic monsters that have held Nigerians hosted, and asked Nigerians to be patient and give his administration more time to deal with the economic issues plaguing Nigeria. Now, the question on the lips of Nigerians is, what is the president actually battling? Is he succeeding in his battle? While people in government tell Nigerians that, look, the economy is making progress, Nigerians feel otherwise. I mean, their standard of living takes a nosedive every other day, more like a precipitous fall. And people in government are defending the policies. Nigerians are not seeing the impact. Standard of living is going down and all of that. I don't know if what could be responsible for this? Is it that the people in government are far removed, from the reality on ground? Or is it that they are just trying to paint pictures, to their principal? Does it look like the president himself doesn't know that the inflation is still at 20-something%, despite the rebasing of the consumer price index? Does it look like the president doesn't know that some states are unable to pay the 70,000 naira minimum wage? Does it look like the president doesn't know that the pump price of fuel is still hovering between 800 and 1,000 naira in some places? So, which monsters do you think that the president is actually battling down?
I think that the monsters he may be talking about are those that are within his inner circle. And I say to say that the president must be misinformed, or is being misinformed by those who are guarding him and those who are furnishing him with information. I think the message that he gets on a daily basis from every sector that reports to him is that, oh, don't worry, Mr. President, petrol price is now 100 naira to a liter. The people are able to feed very well. A bag of rice right now is like 1,000 naira. They are doing so well. Nigeria is okay. The economy is doing well. At least, IMF is talking to us to say your policies are making progress. Your reforms are leading Nigeria out of poverty. These are the kind of things that I think they are telling him, because it doesn't make any sense. The reason why I say that is what they are battling to protect is the image of the president. And that is why they would fly a brand new jet that was just bought not long ago to South Africa to go and pimp it up. I don't see how the relevance of that, what it means, if not for his image or how he looks. What's the picture or the image that he presents before the rest of the world, not the people in Nigeria? Because if they are in touch with what is going on ground, I don't think these lavish expenses that is being pushed on the Nigerian taxpayers, they would be embarked on. The economy has tanked. The people cannot feed themselves. There is a huge setback insecurity. The people are dying every day. There is starvation going on. The food basket of the nation is being ravished right now. The farmers cannot go to farm. It's planting season. And they are all in IDP camps. They cannot, the nation cannot feed itself as it is. There's so much going on that needs his attention that he doesn't even need to appear in Anambra State and take a chieftaincy title, of which I blame the Soludo and those, I think they call them the Traditional Rulers Council or whatever it's called in the Southeast, that felt that in addition to the insults that is being heaped upon the people of the Southeast and Nigeria at large, that a chieftaincy title of that nature and caliber should be given to the man who approves that soldiers should be within every, 2-3 kilometers in the Southeast, oppressing the people and maiming them, not doing good, so to say, to them. That a chieftaincy title would be a good exchange for Nnamdi Kanu, who is still in jail, and they can't really find anything concrete to hold him down with. They're not bringing up the conversation of how do we get him out? How do we make life better for the people of the Southeast? What alternatives to these soldiers that we have on every stops here and there that can we come up with? I don't think it makes sense.
Okay, all right. Flagship, on that note, a lot of people think that, look, that the Southeast needs to play that politics of correctness, to align with the president to see if he's able, with this warm reception, like to, say, Nnamdi Kanu, yeah, people received me very well. Now, let's look for a political solution. A lot of people, when I complained the way you did, some people told me that, look, they need to be politically correct to align with the vision of the president to see if he's able, to see reason why Nnamdi should be let go, why the president should actually focus on the development of the Southeast and all of that. So if you have this in mind, do you still disagree with the chieftaincy title that he received?
I disagree with it in every ramification and aspect of it. I don't think it is deserved right now. The Southeast has always cooperated with the federal government of Nigeria from the get-go. They have really not pushed. And correct me if I'm wrong, I would rather say since the time of the Civil War, the Southeast has always complied with the federal government of Nigeria. And unfortunately, they've always gotten the short end of the stick. So asking for political correctness at this time is just like a slap on the faces of the sacrifices that has been made by the people of the Southeast. How much more cooperation do you want? What level of subjection do you need the Southeast to be subjected to before you now say, okay, this is political correctness, it aligns with the objectives and ideas of the presidency. Let's see what Tinubu can do. Were they not compliant with Buhari when he was in office? What happened? What's the result from it? I don't think that looking for compliance or alignment with the ideas or ideas of the president as it is would give a breath of fresh air to the Southeast. The point is, does Nigeria recognize the Southeast and the contribution that it makes it to Nigeria as a nation, the contributions that the great minds and people from the Southeast who have represented Nigeria in all aspects, globally and locally, nationally in Nigeria, has contributed. Is that not enough for the federal government of Nigeria to say, well, I think we need to focus on developing the Southeast without asking for anything in exchange? They have really backed so much with us. Let's make moves to get new policies that will move them and advance the lives of the people in the Southeast.
All right,
I don't see how much political correctness is needed here.
Okay, very well taken. And now, Flagship, before we leave, because we are out of time now, I like the fact that you mentioned that they flew the presidential jet to South Africa, for painting, repenting, and refitting and all of that. And in that same breath, they told us that the president had to lease an aircraft to travel. Are you surprised? So if the president could lease an aircraft, why buy a brand new jet at $150 million when Nigerians are suffering? Is that private jet, the presidential jet, is it quite necessary that it had to be bought? And why are they refitting it at this point in time and repenting it? Not even about technical upgrade or what, but repenting and refitting. What is the essence of all of that? And I'd like for you to join your concluding thoughts So with the answer to that question.
So it is the very insensitive nature of the government to say this to the Nigerian people, that their taxpayers' money will be used to go and repaint the private jet. I don't think that the looks of the private jet will make any difference for Nigeria as it is, wherever it flies to in the world. I don't think the refitting. I mean, didn't they tell us when they bought it from France the other time that it was refitted? They took everything that was in it out and Airbus, so to say, put whatever it is that the president will need for communication, travel, and everything. All of those things were put in the jet before they flew it out of France to Nigeria and delivered it to the federal government of Nigeria. Why go to refit it again in South Africa? And why rent or lease a jet? Doesn't the president have a private jet of his own that he flies everywhere in the world in? If he means well for Nigerians and Nigeria, with his comments in Anambra not long ago, that Nigerians should endure and have some more patience with the government. I think the federal government too should also be doing the same thing. I expect him to say, okay, lease my private jet, and I'll give it to Nigeria at a discount rate, so we can save money and put that back into the economy to see how it will better us. The beauty of the jet and how it looks at this point is of no consequence. What really matters, and the image that Nigeria will push out there to the world that will make them look good, is to see that the economic life of the people is beginning to improve. Security is going up, and there's production. The people are having more on their dinner plates at home every day without complaining. So I don't think that was fair to the Nigerian people. I think it just really, it doesn't support whatever it is that the president means when he says, bear with us, and fighting monsters that are fighting against Nigeria. In conclusion, this is what I have to say. Nigerians, you see, the change that we need will only come from us, the people. It's not going to come from those in leadership right now, because as it stands, they really do not care about you. They really do not think about you. They have not done anything to support or improve your standard of living. They only think about themselves. That's why they make sure that everything with reference to their mobility, their housing, their allowances and all of that is well caked up, put together. But when it comes to you, you have to bear and wait and exercise more patience. What you need to do, Nigerians, is begin to huddle up amongst yourselves and start to have the conversation on how you can effect change come 2027. Don't allow them to strategize on their end. When I mean them, I'm talking about the leadership and all this jumping of ships and parties that they are doing. Do not allow them to strategize. And you, ask the people who lies in the power, not on your own part, form your own strategy on how to counter whatever it is that they are doing. Because if you sit down and let them make these moves that they are doing, when 2027 comes, by 2031, life is not going to be any better or easier for you. May 29th will be 2 years. And you tell me, how much improvement have you had? How much of the promises that the present administration made to you when they were campaigning, how much of it have they fulfilled? Your answer is good as mine. So begin to huddle up, begin to strategize amongst yourself, begin to have conversations and educate yourself on the electoral process of Nigeria. No matter how for lack of a better word, how faulted those documents are. Read them, acquaint yourself with them, and begin to strategize on how to pull yourselves out of this mess that you're in.
All right, then. All right. This would be a good place to anchor this conversation. Big thanks to you, the Flagship. The Flagship is a clinical research operations lead and business entrepreneur who joined us from Atlanta, Georgia, United States of America. Thank you so much, the Flagship. We appreciate your presence on Diaspora Perspective. All right, then. Now, this show comes up every Saturday at 9 to 11 p.m. West African time. Keep a date with us the next week for another interesting edition. I am Chukwuma Okoro, and on behalf of the backroom staff, I tell you to enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.